Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm sure you see that I am in yet another place. I feel like I switch the background of my videos like probably once a month, or at least that's how it's been so far, because life has been crazy. My family moved, I got married and all that stuff. So now we're in our actual apartment. This is where I live now, and this is our little office space. So yeah. All right. So for today, I feel like I gotta be real with you guys, because I feel like all the videos I've done on music production so far, I feel like I've tried to angle myself in a way that I know what I'm doing. And when it comes to music production, I really don't know what I'm doing that well. Like, I'm really starting to just begin in on this, and I'm just a total noob right now. So instead of angling my videos like I know what I'm doing, you know, I'm just gonna embrace it. You know, I'm going to angle the videos like I have little idea what I'm doing and that I'm learning, you know. So I feel like it's a better way for me to be real with you guys, and I feel like it'll make my videos more comfortable for me. But today, let's learn how to do some vocal processing. Yay. What inspired this video is I saw this video by a YouTuber named Andrew Huang. He is a awesome music producer, and he collabed with another music producer online who goes by Reed Stefan, I think. And they did a video where they showed their vocal processing chain, and by vocal processing chain, I mean all the effects that they put on a vocal track to make their vocals sound good. Because in the world of music production, the whole goal of everything is to make your music sound really good, you know? But anyway, so I learned from this video exactly how much producers put on a vocal processing. Like, there's tons. There are so many effects that goes into vocal processing. And yeah, let's start diving into this. First thing I want to clarify is a lot of people have this conception that AutoTune is completely like a cheater's software for music. Like, if you use AutoTune, that like diminishes your abilities as a musician, and that if you used AutoTune, then you must suck at singing because you can't sing in tune. That is absolutely the wrong way to look at it. AutoTune should be, for most artists, I feel like AutoTune is used as a small correctional software that basically, it's just fine tuning, because most people that you hear on the radio can sing in tune, but they use AutoTune too. Like, AutoTune is a huge part of like probably everybody's vocal processing chain. And by chain, I just mean all the effects that are on that track, like all the things that are changing the signal of the vocals, if that makes sense. Like, I've heard complaints from other people as like, oh yeah, this artist is my favorite because he doesn't use AutoTune. I take one listen to like what they're listening to. You can't tell. It's not like crazy AutoTune, like, you know, it's not crazy like super mumble rap kind of AutoTune, but it's there. It's there. They're just using it as like a fine tune. Let me show you what I mean. So I got my vocal track. I recorded it. And fun fact about this one is actually something I came up with. I hope you guys like it. I'm planning on turning it into a song eventually, but it's still in the process. So months down the road, maybe look for a song called Paper Figures. Anyway, so this is the AutoTune thingy that I have used before. It's just a free AutoTune software. It's not the greatest, but it works. So this is my voice without AutoTune. And I've already messed around with this and dialed in where I want it. And this is my voice with AutoTune. Can you tell the difference? A little bit, but not really. Like, it's a tiny, tiny difference. So like, the difference between my AutoTune voice and my non-AutoTune voice is very minimal. What most people think of when they hear AutoTune is this. So yeah, that's what most people think of when they hear like AutoTune. But like, you can do it in ways that, so like what I had, I think was 50% correction and having it like a slower correction speed. So what this does is it takes like the notes that you're by, and the smoothness thing is how fast it shifts your voice into the pitch that it's correcting it to, if that makes sense. So like if it's a really short correction speed, then it gives that like AutoTune, the classic AutoTune sound that most people know of. But AutoTune, anyway, yeah, AutoTune is actually helpful and everybody uses it. I'm sorry if you think your favorite artist doesn't use AutoTune. They probably use AutoTune. Heck, artists use AutoTune in live performances too. Just saying. That doesn't mean that they can't sing though. Like I said, it's a fine-tuning thing just to make, because could you imagine doing a live performance and you hit a wrong note or something just didn't quite sound right? Like, it wouldn't totally ruin the performance, but you know what I mean. Anyway, so this is the clip that we're going to be working with today. Let's give it a listen. Hey, let the gold idols burn in the flame. Hey, let's bring the kingdom down. There's no shame when the smoke clears. Nothing's left but gold tears and tattered fame. They're just paper figures. Oh yeah. So there's that. That's the thing I've been working on. So down here is something I learned from the video. There's this thing in my program called an audio effect rack, and what that does is it, like, you can put all these different audio effects in the same thing, and then you could map certain like parameters on the effects to these knobs, which gives you like easy access control over certain things. So basically my goal of this is I'm just going to be playing around with this stuff until I can finally figure out like until I have basically vocal processing set up that I'm happy with. And I think the first thing I'm going to be starting with is what's called an equalizer. Equalizer essentially just, it lets you sculpt like the frequencies that you're hearing. So like you have like low ends that are bass, and you have like the high ends that are treble and stuff. And so it lets you like this thing, if I did this way, all the frequencies, which left to right is low to high frequencies, all the frequencies that are past this little dip off, you're not really going to hear as much. So yeah, anyway, yeah, so I think I'm just going to set this little repeater thing and I'll play around with it. So all right, so I messed around with it a little bit and I got something that I feel like I liked. I just kind of played with parameters until I found something that I thought sounded good, which when you're starting out with music production, when in doubt, just play with everything until it sounds good. So this is, this button activates and deactivates it. So this is it in the flame. Without it, hey, let's bring the kingdom down. There's no shame. What I found that I liked is I think I like taking off a little bit of the low end frequencies and then brightening up the high end frequencies a little bit. Actually, like it gives it like this like tone that I like it. Let the gold idols burn in the flame. Hey, to me it sounds pretty good that way. I like it. So, and then I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do with all these little macro knobs, but to give you an example, I can click this button and it goes into the mapping mode, which means that I can go into this thing, and then I think I click that and then I map it to there, which gives me this knob controls the frequencies that, like, the left to right frequency that this number one thing is. So basically what I could do with this knob is I could just use this to control how much of the low end this part of the EQ is letting in. So if I decide I want more low end, then I can open it up, and if I want less low end, then I can put it back like where it was. So that's an example of what you can do with the macro knobs. So there's that. let the gold idols burn in the flame. Hey, let's bring the kingdom down. There's no shame when the smoke clears. Nothing's left but gold tears and tattered fame. All right, next, I think, what do I want? I think a compressor is a good way to go. So what a compressor does is it compresses the vocal signals. So that was not helpful at all. It takes the louder parts of the vocal track and it quiets them down and takes the softer parts and like makes them a little louder. So the dynamic range of it isn't as huge. So that's basically a processor is like a processor. A compressor is what you'd use to tone down the harshness of the sudden volume spike right here. Let the gold idols burn. Because you can hear like a pretty hard, super duper like spike right there. So I'm gonna play around with this. I don't know exactly what the ratio does, but I've heard 3:1 is good for vocals, I think. So yeah. Okay, so I wish I knew more about like compressors. Again, I'm just like toying with the controls. So I think the threshold is you pull the threshold down more. The more you pull the threshold down, the more it's gonna cut off the top. So like if you, hey, let the gold idols burn. You can kind of see how much farther it goes above the threshold is how much comes in this middle yellow bar. This is gain reduction, which is basically just how much it's taking, like how much volume it's taking off the loud parts. And so basically you pull the threshold down, the lower down the threshold it is, the more compressed that it's going to be, if I'm correct, from what I've learned. If somebody knows otherwise, teach me, please. So like, because the lower that's like compressed, the more like loudness it's going to reduce. So here, let's just show you guys. So hey, like, let the gold idols burn. That was the, like, you could hear like more of that dynamic range, but hey, let the gold idols burn. I'm not like totally dialed in, but you can tell that it's like a little more hey, let the gold idols burn. The volume levels stay like more level throughout the whole thing. Like it cut like that first part's a little louder, and then when idols burn, that's not as like that's not as much of a volume spike. I'm aching to put some like reverb or something on this, so plop. Reverb is basically the kind of effects that make it sound like it's in a room. It's kind of echoey, like hey, let the gold idols burn. The point of reverb is like recreating how sound would reflect in a room. So yeah, I don't know what most of these mean. I know the decay time is how long like the signal echoes. Hey, so like if I turn echo time way up, then it gets really echoey. Hey, let the go. That was a mistake. Okay, so yeah, I know for just usually if you're doing reverb on vocals, you don't want it to be super echoey. It's just like a tiny kind of, it's a fine tuning thing. Again, that's most of what like vocal processing is in the first place. All right. I really wish I knew more about all these things on the reverb. All I know is this right here is how much effect is being applied. Decay time is how like echoey it is. I don't really know what the others do, but I played around with it and this is what I wound up with. Hey, let the gold idols burn in the flame. Hey, let's bring the kingdom down. There's no shame when the smoke clears. Nothing's left but gold tears and tattered fame. They're just paper figures, oh yeah. Just a very minute difference but noticeable. Another cool effect that you can add on to this stuff is something called delay. Delay is, let's see, what delay does is it takes the input. So let's say I say hey, and then it takes that input that was taken and it delays it and repeats it a number of times. So I guess I shall just demonstrate. Hey! It does that. That's what delay does, and it's pretty cool. So yeah, I don't remember exactly how this works, but all right, so I tuned in delay to just give it a nice soft touch to it. So hey, this is where we're at.
Let the gold idols burn in the flame. Hey, let's bring the kingdom down. There's no shame when the smoke clears. Nothing's left but gold tears and tattered fame. They're just paper figures. Oh yeah.
How's that? Is that pretty good? So I hope this is sounding good to everybody. I think it sounds good from what I can tell. I don't know how much there is left that I can put on here. But another thing, just to demonstrate something that I could do with, let's try this. So this is just like a for funsies thing that you could do with an effect rack. You can put effects that you don't necessarily want to keep on all the time, but this is how you could like modulate it, is how it's done. So you could click this thing. This thing is the on and off button for the distortion thing. You can map it to the second one. Now this says the parameters between which the device is on and off. What this means is that min will mean that if it's under 64, it'll turn the device off. But if it's between 64 and 127, which is the max, then it turns it on. Right? Yep. So, and then what vinyl distortion is vinyl distortion just makes it sound like it's old and crackly. So yeah, and it doesn't even have to be like, it's just always kind of there, like you can just kind of hear it. I know there's a lot of weird effects going through, but like turn it off.
Hey, let the gold idols burn.
Turn the effect on. The way you could do that without having to actually push the buttons yourself is there's this nice little deal called modulation, and you click on this button and basically you have like this timeline of values. So you'll see that it's set to my audio effect rack and the device on knob. So I can go to any parts of this and I can set a point. I guess I should set the point in the beginning so it stays off, and then I could like pull the point up and then I can move it over so that it shoots.
Idols burn in the flame.
So then you'll notice that when it hits that little bit right there, like when the cursor is past that bit and when it's behind it is how it defines being on and off. Anyway, so that's kind of what I wanted to do today, just kind of show you messing around with some vocal processing. This is probably pretty close to what I might start using on my vocals. I'm gonna have to learn more about how to use these effects and stuff, but yeah, hopefully this was like insightful on how vocal processing is done for people who do music production. There's actually a lot through vocal processing, and this is like, the stuff I put on is very like, just like starter vocal processing. There's like, people put so much more on vocal processing. It's crazy. I'm gonna have to learn more about it. But anyway, until next time, if you liked the video, make sure you comment down below any ideas you might have, and make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.
You said the same thing I told ya. My eyes are clear, there's no secret. I wanna know